Welcome to the Temple of Flame. And today, Fifth Block Lights, we take a look at these. And what these are from Captain Mowatt's, we've got the Fireberry and the Blue Flame hot sauces. And so a couple more that are dessert type sauces, potentially. I did some from the Fire Candy line from Maritime Madness back in 2024. And sometimes when I see raspberry and blueberry, that's instantly what I think. It's like, oh, they're making a dessert sauce. And I don't know if that actually is quite the case here. We've got a picture of this guy. I don't know who that person is. So this is D. Stevens on this one with the quote about burning the planet one tongue at a time. But then this guy's name is Gavin. So maybe a family member who came over in the early part of settling Maine, perhaps? I don't know. That aside, let's take a look at the old, where are the ingredients on it there? Okay, we're going to look first at the Fireberry, which is raspberries, red chilies, which are, I emailed the company to find out what they were. It's the same for both sauces. So, red jalapenos, and cayenne, and bird's eye. So, for both of these, it is those. Also, cane sugar, water, cider vinegar, salt, spices, and xanthan gum. Over on this side, we have blueberries, the aforementioned chili peppers, cane sugar, water, cider vinegar, salt, spices, xanthan gum, and this one. So this one does not appear to have the main seaweed, the Fireberry, but this one, the Blue Flame, does. I don't know that it plays very heavily into the flavor. I would say perhaps not. Perhaps not. All right, let's take a look at the Fireberry first. This one, I would say is, well, I can't. So they're a touch, both these are a touch too salty to be strictly dessert sauces. But one of the nice things about berries, for me anyway, is I think berries and red meat pair extremely well. So if you had a bison burger or you had a hamburger, you would have, potentially some good sauces to throw on there. Or you could craft your own barbecue sauce potentially with this as a base. But anyway, very lovely red color. You can see bits of the raspberries in there. So let's place this down delicately here. And we have the Blue Flame, which is going to drive me crazy with this stupid cap. So the Blue Flame is the blueberry, of course. It does look a touch like a blueberry syrup. It does look a touch. It does look a touch. Again, we have a bit of saltiness to it. I'm going to see if I can pick out the seaweed in this. I don't believe I'll be able to, but we'll give that a go. We'll give that a go when we get to it. But all right, so let's let me grab this one right here, and that way we can do them. See, you can see the loveliness of these two. I mean, we're not really, I don't know why we would compare these because they're dissimilar fruits. But there you go. That's what they both look like in the white spoons. And let's start first with the Fireberry. So this moves away a bit from being overly sweet with the vinegar and the salt. Very interesting approach here. So both of these sauces are quite good. I like the flavor of both of these. This one, yeah, it's like a slightly vinegary, salty. It's not, you almost expect the sort of sweetness of like a raspberry preserves, and it just isn't there, which is, and it kind of throws me. This one, the Blue Flame, that's what is right here. So the Blue Flame is kind of interesting in that I would expect to have some sort of flames actually on the label, and there aren't. This one did come with a bit more in the bottle than did this one. I've used this prior to right now. I've used this sauce more than this one. 8-ounce bottles, I will be probably using those a while, but once grill season comes around, I am planning on doing some barbecue, some blueberry burgers, maybe some raspberry burgers too, just to kind of play around with it. Raspberry, I think, does lend itself well to chicken. I don't like blueberry and chicken together, but you could do a nice sort of, potentially this could be used as a grill sauce. I'm not quite sure it's sweet enough yet, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to. If you know one thing about me from watching these videos, you know I am willing to try. All right, let's get on to this Blue Flame. This definitely is a lot less sweet. It has somewhat of a strange mouthfeel as well. This one is much less sweet than is this one. This one actually reads slightly hotter as well. And it might just be the agitation. So, in fact, let me not even talk about that anymore. We got a little bit of space in these bottles finally. So let's do that up. This one does not, at the moment, appear to have any heat at all to it. This one is very, very slight. I'm not sure I would give either one of those an actual positive heat rating, though. I think they're both pretty much close to zero. Boy, I really hate that when this white, I don't know the official name for that, but when this sort of white sealing section doesn't stay glued to the caps, that it may be just a me thing, but it drives me bonkers. All right, so we've got here, I just got these Farm Rich Jalapeno Poppers because, well, I really don't like jalapeno poppers as a rule, or as a food particularly. Definitely not the Arby's variants that I've had a few times on this series. It has kind of stuck in my mind with their incredibly way too sweet Bronco, whatever, I forget the name of that sauce. It's Bronco something. So Bronco Berry, maybe, is that it? You know, really, whatever the hell it is. So I have liked that idea of jalapeno poppers and that sort of sweetness. So we're going to throw the raspberry on these. And we're going to throw the blueberry on these. These are not Arby's. These are Farm Rich, which are not particularly any good either. You know, I should probably actually, maybe what I should do is figure out a way to actually make these. I've been thinking about doing cooking, a few more cooking videos, 2025. Let me know if you're interested in those. All right, we're going to start with this one. Wow. That was pretty good. Wow. I was surprised about that one. All right, let's try raspberry and see if our luck is going to hold. Yeah, the raspberry's okay. You know what they really should use? I mean, jalapeno is a fine flavored pepper. Don't get me wrong. For many of us, especially the older of us, when that was all we've had access to, we certainly have had our share of jalapenos. No question. But I'm thinking, suppose these are better than that Bronco berry or whatever it is. I'm liking I'm liking this raspberry less than the other one. Let me try this. Another blueberry. So, where I think the seaweed comes in on this is a sense of umami. And that translates extremely well to this. Extremely. This one is really good in this setting. Wow. All right. All right. All right. Interesting. So back to what I was saying. What I think we ought to do now, and I realize that jalapenos are also less expensive, but if we want to make a higher quality popper, we should switch to Fresno's. As good as jalapenos are, Fresno's are better. And they actually have some little bit of heat to boot. One of my biggest complaints with jalapeno poppers is there's just no real heat to them. Ever. And maybe you could crossbreed them with something. Like I think on that one Netflix, I forget the series, but they had Smokin' Ed had a peppering contest with the Atomic Menace guy was in it, and Bella from Heat 101 was in it. And I think Ed had crossbred a whole bunch of peppers with the Reapers. I don't remember who all was in that episode. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Somebody from the UK, I think, maybe? Anyway, I think it came down to the reason I remember. The reason I remember the Atomic guys, I think he's the one that won it, but also that was my introduction to Bella and the Heat 101 channel. I don't know. Maybe by the time this is posted, they'll be back. I thought they were coming back. I thought they had done a video where they were coming back, but Anyway, she was the second. And man, watching her gut it out against the machine, you know, was... It's hard not to root for somebody in that setting. I don't think I would ever do that kind of live event. I don't like pods that much. You know, a lot of foods, they really are at their best when they're cooked somewhat. You know, I would almost extend that to almost everything, actually. I'm not a big raw food guy, but take corn or garlic as an example. Much better, you know, when both are cooked a bit. So too, I think, for cheese. Okay, well, yeah, definitely the blueberry was better there. I almost wound up getting burgers to try them head to head on burgers, but I'm really trying to keep my fat ass out of fast food to the extent possible these days, to be honest. All right, so we've got these Edwards Signature. This is the berry whipped cheesecake. In a bit of irony, this food and the one I just had right there, or no, actually I had a different one. It's just echoing New Year's Eve when I had lost the previous refrigerator when the freezer quit working. Because I was actually planning on doing a video with these. And I believe it might have been was it the Angry Goat? Aurora Borealis, maybe? I can't remember which video it was. But obviously that threw kind of a wrench into everything. Okay, so these are coming in these little tray things like the awful pies that Burger King has. So let's put one there. And in fact, I think they have like a chocolate pie or something, I think, at Burger King. Something like that. Hershey's pie, maybe? I don't know. I never get those. They're way too sweet for me, and I can't remember if I thought these were as well, but they might be. But I understand they have a knockoff of the Sunday pie. I think that's it. They have a knockoff of those. All right. Well, I put these on here exactly backwards. What am I doing? Okay. All right. So this is what do they call this? The berry whipped cheesecake. You can see there is raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, and blueberries. There's no actual fruit, however, it is all just this sort of syrup or something, I guess, that they use to get the marbling. I was actually debating trying to learn how to make cheesecake. But cheesecake isn't a thing I don't think you can do especially fast. I think you have to, it's like somewhat time consuming. And so it is early February as I'm filming this. And this winter has been a very warm one overall. in the part of the country that I'm in. And I was going to do more baking. Because I thought, you know, snow's flying outside. Now is a good time to, you know, just play around. Play around on the table, play with some dough. It can rest. I can watch a video with the fireplace or something, you know, whatever. The oven is on. And, you know, we just kind of go with that. But it was not to be. We have actually had very little snow where I am, and it has been not hugely cold for most of it. So, and February we're gonna have probably on and off days, and maybe a handful in March as well, and that'll be it. And then who knows about the later part of 2025? You know. Perhaps we'll all be annihilated by then in a goofy trade war. Anyway, let's start with the raspberry again. Ooh. Wow. This cheesecake is bad. And, wow. Oh, yeah. This is, I should have just bought real cheesecake. Oh, man. This is, so the raspberry on this cheesecake is quite unpleasant. So, you know, when you think about raspberry dessert stuff, I think for me, raspberry is the opposite of what I was saying earlier. I think I would rather have raspberries raw than cooked. And boy, did that not play nice. That was kind of foul. All right, let's try the blueberry. Cooked blueberry, though, I think lends itself to, this is good. Better. I don't know if I'd call it good. It is actually a lot more, it's more interesting. With the raspberry, we had some unfortunate flavor cancellation. With this one, so blueberry is one that, you know, as a fruit in the syrup, it'll really work well with stuff like maple. Pancakes and eggs and bacon and sausage and stuff. I don't think raspberry is something I would ever consider putting on those. I'd rather just have handfuls of the fruit. Back when I was growing up, we had these a couple significant sections of raspberry bushes. And unfortunately, those got all annihilated. Because my dad wanted to put a building there for a for his run of a small business. So they tried to transplant. When we moved here, that was easily for us the best part of that entire place. Was this gigantic raspberry patch. And man, We actually, there was 7 of us, my parents and 5 kids, right? I was one of those 5 kids, the oldest of the 5 kids. And those things would kick so much ass, pumping out berries, we would all be tired. We would all be sick of the flavor of raspberries by the end of the summer, And my mom would freeze a bunch of them and try to make them into stuff and, to bust them out during the winter when potentially we might be a lot less sick of those things. She was like me, had a hard time letting food go to waste. But man, the section that they tried to transplant I don't know if the soil was different or what. It just never did as well. And so, that was, I think, probably an indirect lesson, or not really the one that I think would have been the direct one. But it did, I think, in hindsight, sort of get me onto the thing that I always tell people is, if you like something, support it and appreciate it while it's there, because nothing lasts forever and you don't know when it's going to be gone and you won't be able to enjoy that thing any longer. So anyway, back to these. Yeah, of the two, I think I prefer the blueberry. I like the flavor a little bit better. Like I said, I think in terms of processed fruit between these two berries, I think blueberry comes off a lot better. And part of it is because I think blueberries is really streaky. When blueberries are at their best, they're not as good as raspberries at their best, I don't feel. Like, I love blueberries a lot, but when these things are ripe and round and luscious and full, raw raspberries are phenomenal. There's nothing quite like them. They definitely, I feel like, stand head and shoulders above a lot of other berries. When they're processed, you lose a lot of that, and then you get the little seeds and stuff too, and that's kind of obnoxious. But so because these are processed, I think blueberry comes off better. Just generally, and certainly is the case between these two sauces as well. This one, I will say, I've tried it on a number of different breakfast things, and I've been pretty happy with this one. So, definitely, the Fireberry, I feel like needs to be hotter if you're going to call it that. To be honest, well, actually, Blue Flame. There's no heat in either one of these two. What am I saying? This one directly references a flame. This one, fire, right? Neither one of those two is hot enough. I don't think cool names, but I don't think they're really hot enough to sort of work that out. But they are good tasting. Neither one of them, in my view, works particularly well as a dessert sauce. Certainly not what I would want to have again. So I am going to be using these, like I said, probably on stuff like burgers, and this one I am going to attempt on chicken as well as a grill sauce, and just kind of see how that goes. But berries, I think you can very easily get to cross purposes because they don't always mesh with a lot of stuff. And I didn't find either one of these two to be particularly what I wanted as far as stuff like tendies either. So definitely got a little bit more playing around to do, but they are out of the gate. They are definitely in a unique spin on stuff, but I think they're good in their own right. They just are kind of in an area where you really have to find something that pairs well with them. For this one, you can add jalapeno poppers. But we're going to leave it right there. So that was the Fireberry and the Blue Flame from Captain Mowatt. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.